Welcome to Pink History. This is the show where we shine a spotlight on the women who've shaped our world, one story at a time. I'm your host, Andrea, and today we're diving into the life of a woman whose vision sparked a movement that is still going strong over a century later. Juliette Gordon Low, the founder of the Girl Scouts of the USA. Imagine a world where girls were expected to stay home, act proper, and leave the adventure and leadership to the boys. Yeah, not exactly the place where young girls could dream big. But Juliette Gordon Low saw something different. She believed girls could do anything, and she created a space where they could prove it. Today, we'll explore her life from a childhood mischief to the moment she picked up the phone, called a friend, and said, I've got something for the girls of Savannah and all of America and all the world, and we're going to start it tonight. Yep, that's a direct quote. This woman meant business. So, whether you're a former Girl Scout yourself, a current Girl Scout like my daughter, or just someone who loves a good story about breaking barriers, stick around. We'll be talking about adventure, determination, and a whole lot of cookies. Let's dive in. Let's head to Savannah, Georgia, where our story begins. Juliette Gordon Low, affectionately known as Daisy to her friends and family, was born on October 31st, 1860. That's right, Halloween. Maybe that's where she got her mischievous streak. Growing up in a well to do Southern family, young Daisy had all the comforts of the time. But, unlike most girls of her era, she wasn't content to just sit still. She was a climber of trees, a rider of horses, and a lover of pranks. In fact, she once snuck frogs into her grandmother's bed just to see what would happen. Classic Daisy. But life wasn't all fun and games. Daisy's childhood was marked by both privilege and hardship. She grew up during the aftermath of the Civil War, witnessing a world in flux. Her father, a Confederate captain, later worked to rebuild Savannah, and her mother came from a prominent Northern family. This mix of influences shaped Daisy's perspective, teaching her resilience and adaptability from a young age. And let's not forget the moment that would change her life forever, an accident with rice at her wedding. Yes, rice, that led to partial hearing loss. But did she let that stop her? Absolutely not. If anything, it made her more determined to live her life on her own terms. With a spirit of adventure and a knack for turning challenges into opportunities, Daisy was already laying the foundation for the trailblazing life ahead. As Daisy grew older, her adventurous spirit took her far beyond Savannah. She traveled to Europe where she mingled with high society, explored the arts, and discovered a world of possibilities. Her marriage to William Lowe, a wealthy Englishman, seemed like the start of a fairy tale. But life, as we know it, doesn't always follow the script. Their marriage was troubled, and Daisy often found herself searching for a greater purpose. Still, her time in Europe exposed her to new ideas that would later shape her mission. Now, here's where things get really interesting. After her husband's death, Daisy found herself at a crossroads. She could have settled into a quiet life of comfort. Instead, she chose to rewrite her story, and, as fate would have it, a chance meeting with Sir Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of the Boy Scouts, would change everything. Imagine the scene. It's 1911, and Daisy meets Baden-Powell, a man who believed that outdoor adventure and practical skills could transform boys into confident, capable leaders. Inspired by his ideas, Daisy saw the potential to create something similar for girls, a space where they could learn, explore, and grow into leaders themselves. And with that spark of inspiration, she was ready to take the leap. But first, she had to bring her vision back to the States. Picture it, Savannah, Georgia, 1912. Daisy picks up the phone, calls her cousin, and delivers that now famous line. I've got something for the girls of Savannah and all of America, and we're going to start it tonight. And start it she did. On March 12th, 1912, Daisy gathered 18 girls for the very first Girl Scout meeting. Armed with a mix of curiosity, courage, and a heavy dose of determination, these girls embarked on a journey that would redefine what it meant to be young, female, and fearless. Now, let's talk about what made the Girl Scouts so groundbreaking. This wasn't about sewing and sipping tea, though hey, nothing wrong with a good tea party. But Daisy had bigger plans. She taught these girls how to camp, hike, and navigate the great outdoors. They learned first aid, public speaking, and practical skills that were usually reserved for boys. Imagine the buzz around Savannah, girls climbing trees, pitching tents, and earning badges for their achievements. It wasn't just about having fun. It was about showing the world that these girls were just as capable, adventurous, and resilient as anyone else. But let's not forget the challenges. Not everyone was thrilled with the idea of girls running around in the woods and learning, quote, boy stuff. Some critics thought Daisy was, well, a little too unconventional. But did that slow her down? Not a chance. With her trademark humor and unshakable determination, she pushed forward, recruiting more girls, organizing more troops, and proving that adventure and leadership has no gender. As word spread, the Girl Scouts movement began to grow. What started with 18 girls in Savannah quickly expanded to hundreds, then thousands across the United States. By the time of Daisy's death in 1927, the Girl Scouts had become a nationwide phenomenon. But Daisy's legacy isn't just about numbers. It's about the values she instilled in every girl who wore that uniform. Courage, confidence, and character. She believed that every girl, no matter her background, deserved the chance to reach her full potential. And she made sure the Girl Scouts reflected that vision. Over the decades, the Girl Scouts continued to break barriers. During World War I and II, they supported soldiers and communities through service projects. In the 1950s and 60s, they championed diversity and inclusion, welcoming girls of all races and backgrounds at a time when segregation still divided much of the country. And as the world changed, so did Girl Scouts, adding programs in STEM, environmental stewardship, and global citizenship. But through it all, Daisy's original mission stayed the same: to help girls discover their strengths, explore their passions, and become leaders in their communities and beyond. Today, more than 50 million women in the United States are Girl Scouts alumni, including astronauts, CEOs, and world leaders. Not bad for an idea that started with a single phone call. Now, because no episode of Pink History is complete without a few fun facts, let's dive into some of the quirkier, lesser known moments from Daisy's life. Trust me, this woman was full of surprises. For starters, did you know that Daisy was an artist? Yep, she loved painting, sculpting, working with iron. Talk about a Renaissance woman. In fact, she once created an iron gate for her home in Savannah, proving she wasn't afraid to roll up her sleeves and get her hands dirty. And speaking of hands-on adventures, Daisy was also known for her sense of humor and love of pranks. Whether it was sneaking frogs into beds or staging elaborate practical jokes, she knew how to keep life interesting. But her playful nature wasn't just about having fun. It helped her connect with the girls she mentored, making her a leader they could relate to and admire. And here's a fun fact that might surprise you. Daisy was one of the first women in the United States to own an electric car. Talk about being ahead of her time. So, what can we learn from Juliette Gordon Low's story today? Well, for starters, her life is a reminder that big dreams can start in the most unexpected places, like a phone call or a backyard camping trip. Her story also shows us the power of resilience. From hearing loss to personal heartbreak, Daisy faced her share of challenges. But instead of letting those setbacks define her, she used them as fuel to push forward, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire millions. And finally, Daisy's life reminds us that true leadership isn't about titles or trophies. It's about lifting others up, empowering them to discover their strengths, and creating a world where everyone has the chance to shine. And with that, we've reached the end of our journey through the life of Juliette Gordon Low, a woman who proved that with a little courage, a lot of heart, and maybe a few frogs along the way, you can change the world. From those first 18 girls in Savannah to the millions of Girl Scouts who followed in their footsteps, Daisy's legacy is a testament to the power of believing in yourself and others. So whether you're climbing trees, selling cookies, or chasing your own big dreams, remember, the world is full of possibilities, and they're yours for the taking. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more history lovers find the show. And if you've got a favorite Girl Scout memory or a story of empowerment that you'd like to share, drop me a message at pinkhistorypodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. This has been Pink History. I'm Andrea. Until next time, keep chasing those big dreams. You never know where they might lead.